For the first time in 60 years, someone new is writing the iconic Berkshire Hathaway shareholder letter. So let's dive into this very first letter from the new CEO, Greg Abel, and really break down what it tells us about the future of one of the world's most watched companies.
To really get where Berkshire is headed, you first have to understand its DNA. Abel kicks things off by reminding everyone of Warren Buffett's legendary discipline. And he uses this perfect baseball analogy. Buffett just waits and waits for that perfect pitch right in his sweet spot before he even thinks about swinging. That patience, right there, is what defined his success. And man, does it set a high bar for his successor.
And that really brings us to the one question on every single investor's mind, right? When you have a founder as legendary as Warren Buffett, what on earth happens next? The good news is, Abel doesn't shy away from this. He tackles it head on.
So, Greg Abel's first letter? It's not about some radical new vision or tearing up the old playbook. It's actually the complete opposite. It's a promise, a vow to shareholders that the heart and soul of Berkshire is not going to change.
Here's the most important takeaway from his introduction. Abel sees his job as being a steward. He makes it absolutely crystal clear that Berkshire's unique culture isn't just some nice little side effect of its success. No, he says it is the reason for its success, and his mission, first and foremost, is to protect that reason at all costs.
And I mean, wow, talk about the ultimate endorsement. Abel himself says this simple quote from the late, great Charlie Munger is something that will forever resonate with him. He sees it as a direct order, really, a call to make sure that the very thing that defines Berkshire is here to stay forever.
Okay, so what does this vow of continuity actually look like in the real world? Well, Abel lays it all out for us, right in the heart of his letter. He defines the foundational values he promises to uphold. You can think of this as the official operating manual for the new era of Berkshire.
First up, the famous decentralized model. At Berkshire, if you're a CEO of one of their companies, you get an incredible amount of freedom. There are no endless layers of corporate bureaucracy breathing down your neck. The deal is really simple. We trust you, so go out there and deliver. Abel's, having lived this system himself, promises it's not going anywhere.
Next up is integrity. Abel brings up that famous Buffett line, "Lose a shred of reputation for the firm and I will be ruthless." The message here is so powerful. Integrity isn't just a word you slap on a poster in the break room. It's something you have to actively earn day in and day out.
And this is a brilliant example of that principle in action. Abel points out how BNSF Railway didn't just dig in their heels over a past mistake. Instead, the leaders owned it. They acknowledged the error, they apologized, and they worked to build a new, stronger partnership. That is integrity in the real world.
The third core value is what they call a fortress-like balance sheet. And look, this isn't just about having a huge pile of cash. It's a strategic weapon. It lets Berkshire stay calm during financial hurricanes and scoop up massive opportunities when everyone else is panicking and running for the hills.
And here's what that fortress actually looks like. We're talking over $370 billion in cash and U.S. Treasuries. That is the dry powder that backs up the entire company. It gives them a level of resilience and firepower that is just unmatched.
The last core value is operational excellence. Now, Abel is really clear this isn't some fancy corporate program with a bunch of buzzwords. It's just the natural result of disciplined, daily decisions made by managers who are empowered to think and act like they own the place with a laser focus on the long term.
Now, this right here, this story is where you see all those values come together. A huge fire breaks out at a critical facility for precision cast parts. Did the CEO need to call headquarters in Omaha for permission to act? Nope. His team just executed. They flawlessly shifted work all around the globe. And the result? Not a single customer's production line was stopped. That's what decentralized leadership and operational excellence look like under intense pressure.
So that's the philosophy, right? That's the why and the how. But how does it all translate to the bottom line? Let's take a quick look under the hood and see how the Berkshire Empire actually performed.
And here's the big number, $44.5 billion in operating earnings for 2023. Abel makes sure to point out that this is Berkshire's favorite way to measure performance because it filters out all the wild, unpredictable swings from the stock portfolio.
And this chart shows you exactly where all that money is coming from. You can see insurance is the powerhouse, making up almost half of the earnings. But just look at the amazing diversity here, from the BNSF Railroad to a whole collection of manufacturing, service, and retail businesses. It's incredible.
Okay, now this number, this is the secret sauce, the insurance float. Basically, it's the cash that Berkshire gets to hold on to from premiums before it has to pay any claims. Think of it like a giant interest-free loan from its customers. At $176 billion, this float is the powerful engine that fuels Berkshire's legendary investment machine.
And speaking of that investment machine, let's see how Abel plans to keep putting all that capital to work, following that same disciplined, wait-for-the-perfect-pitch approach.
The strategy of making huge, concentrated bets on fantastic American companies, the ones with powerful brands and deep competitive moats, well, that's not changing. Abel confirms that these high-conviction holdings, like Apple and American Express, are still going to be the heart of Berkshire's identity.
But here's what's really interesting: the growing focus on Japan. The letter explicitly says that these huge stakes in Japanese trading houses are now seen as just as important as the big U.S. positions. This isn't a side bet, it's a major pillar of the portfolio now.
Okay, so after reaffirming the past and laying out the present, how does Abel tackle the enormous challenge of what comes next?
I think this might be one of the most important sentences in the whole letter. Abel is being totally, brutally honest. The jaw-dropping, world-beating returns of the past, they just aren't mathematically possible anymore, given how massive Berkshire is today. He's managing expectations and being straight with his partners, the shareholders.
So the goal has shifted. It's not about trying to hit grand slams every single year. The new objective is steady, disciplined, step-by-step improvement in value, with an absolute obsession on protecting the company from big losses. It's a game of preservation and resilience now. And that leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? In this new chapter for Berkshire, when the simple math of growth gets tougher and tougher, will that intangible thing, the Berkshire way, its culture of trust, integrity, and long-term thinking, will that be its most powerful and lasting competitive advantage? That's the bet Greg Abel is making.